Streaming from Madison, Wisconsin and Minneapolis, Minnesota. Straight to your personal devices. Available on all major platforms and YouTube. This is the Armchair Analysts podcast. And here are your hosts, Ace and Johnny.
Well, hey there! Wow, we actually have people listening to our show, Ace. How cool is this?
I think so. I mean, I hope, right?
I mean, if they're hearing this, then we know for sure. It is
We're
confirmed.
enjoyable? Are we enjoyable? Who should I
am.
talk to?
You're a little abrasive at times. I'm a wonder though. I'm one. My voice is like smooth butter.
What's going on?
I got a good random rant. I'm in a good mood today. Life is good. Good feels, good vibes. Not wearing glasses, so I'll probably get a headache by the end of the show, so we're all good.
I was gonna say you look thinner too.
Ooh.
Maybe it's good.
Wedding
good
diet.
summer vibes. Yeah, it's dieting and summer vibes.
Yeah, you can't spell diet without die, right? But it's another week, another episode of Armchair Analysts podcast. We thank you for listening. Today we got some little bit different topics. We got a good mix of stuff. We're not gonna get balls deep into stuff like we normally do, but we got a good mix. I'm gonna start with my random rant, which I'm pumped about. Regionally, we're looking at some UWM stories because obviously we have a superstar on our hands, so we have to talk about him every week.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's the new segment.
I might replace my random rant segment with my Patrick Baldwin segment, but we'll see.
Rant.
Ace wants to talk about somebody. I don't know. He might have been like a Timberwolf for a little while. He might be in the Hall of Fame now. Bucks and Heat round 2. We'll get into that a little bit. Wisconsin actually surprisingly making a lot of big names making this top 100 list in the country, which I was surprised. We're gonna talk a little bit about Corbin Burns' record too.
Okay.
We have a clip of the week, which it wasn't integrated before we recorded, so that's going to be on the website for you beautiful people.
Clip of the week?
Yeah, we can inject it in there. It'll be okay. And then our TF topic today, we're going to talk about NBA Superteams, thing of the past, thing of the present, and what do they mean for the future. So let's kick her off, Ace. Today is a special day. Yesterday, also a special day. Do you know why? I got back in the office. I was back in the office. So I was a
with
remote
or without
hire.
a mask when you walked in?
I have my own office, so when I was in the office, no mask. When I'm walking around the office, mask.
Good.
So basically, if I had to eat, potty, or...
That's fair.
Yeah. So, but that's done June 2nd. So the mask mandate for Dane County expires. They're not renewing it. I've been vaccinated, so... All cares to the wind, bring on the Rona. So, but it was cool because I was a remote hire, so I don't have, I've been working with people for, almost a year now without even actually seeing their faces in person. So, seeing the VP, seeing, some of the sales guys downstairs, it was really nice just to get in. I got my workstation set up. I got my monitor, got my dock. Everything's all good to go. Brought some decorations. Got my signed Devontae helmet I brought in. Some other stuff too. So more to come. But it was just nice just to be in there. I felt more motivated. It was, I don't know, it was a whole different... don't get me wrong. Working from home, there's been a lot of perks to it. Specifically, we were talking about how awesome it was watching March Madness. I had both monitors, and then I was working right next to him. That was cool. Obviously sleeping in's always nice, and who doesn't love an on-the-clock dump, right? That's a timeless part of the...
Oh wait, this doesn't...
Plug your ears. So it's been nice, and I think going forward, we're gonna do kind of a flex schedule where you can do maybe one. Yeah, but the problem is I'm working with most of the team on a day-to-day basis, so it'd be kind of weird to not be there. So
communication, I feel like just that camaraderie kind of is so much more different when you're in the office. You can't really replace that.
Oh, without a doubt.
Ours is getting lifted June 1st. I'm still probably going to be working from home here just because it makes more sense. I moved a little bit further away now from the office instead of less than 10 minutes. So not ideal in the scheme of things, but I got this. This will become something.
Yeah, there
But
you
June
go.
1st, they're gonna lift our ban, so we're
Yeah,
a little
so
bit better
it's...
than Dayton County.
Oh my gosh. In one regard, yes. Well, that's the thing too. I think I think at this point it seems kind of arbitrary, but like it's still like legally. I know that a lot of places are still, making it mandatory, but I feel like most people, especially with the weather improving so much, like look at the sunshine. Like no, but people don't care. They're doing stuff outside now. The kids have more than had enough. The adults have more than had enough. Like it's time. So it's a good sign. Getting back to ditching the new normal and just going back to normal. So I'm really excited, getting a step in the right direction here. All right, we have to talk about. I mean, can we call him the GOAT? Is it too soon to call him the GOAT, Ace?
For the Timberwolves, yeah, I guess.
Whoa. We're talking about our alma mater, the Panthers.
Sorry.
Bro. Come on, dude. KG, get out
My
of here.
bad. I was trying to talk a little Minnesota side for a sec.
So the amount of publicity, the amount of attention, and the amount of hype that's already being generated, literally without even seeing the kid in a jersey, without even seeing the kid touch a basketball in Milwaukee on their court, the amount of stuff that's just circulating around this kid now. I mean, I'm talking like every newspaper, every sports publication has at least some, even like a snippet. It's incredible just within not even a week, just to see all the hype that's surrounding him. But I wanted to point into one article in particular, which I shared with you. I didn't read the title because I think it's kind of crazy, but I thought it would be interesting to share. Article title is literally UW Milwaukee expects 70% boost in season ticket sales thanks to Patrick Baldwin Jr.
Is that year over year? Because like COVID or what I'm saying? Like, can they? I get that he's going to mean so much to the city, and that was going to be my question for you. What do you think he means to the city? So I can see it obviously impacting.
I mean, we kind of talked about this though. Like it's more, of a timeline. Like, how is it 1 year? Is it 2 years? Like, going to the NBA from UWM would be the craziest effing thing. Like,
absolutely, air quotes NBA. Come on.
But okay. So just now, I'm just kind of taking. Actually, I did read this article, but I didn't. It was last week. So they were talking about one of the sales reps, director of ticket sales, literally about 10 seconds after Patrick Baldwin Jr. announced his commitment to UWM, the phone rang for season tickets, and then the phone rang again, and so it just like you're getting the feel that not only, I mean, the students probably don't really understand it, they don't really grasp it, but like for the alums and people that have been paying attention to UWM basketball, like this, this is once in a lifetime. Like this will not come around again. So people are seizing that opportunity. They're hopping on it. And it's like, not only that, but paired with, remember, we didn't have live sports last year.
Yeah.
Fans were not in stands last year. So not only do people want to get butts in seats, they want to be watching this kid play.
Well, and I wonder if that's a reason too, just being closer to home. And obviously, I think most importantly, the coach's son, like him, he must have a great relationship with his dad. Obviously, to consider playing for his dad, because I can understand that's got to be pretty awkward for players, coaches, sort of dilemma, father-son combo.
Not really. You see it at every level. Like when a dad coaches his
and even Boeheim, Syracuse Boeheim.
Yeah, like it's not as uncommon at this level. It's much more uncommon for sure.
I guess my point is, when you knew the type of offers this guy was getting, to like, you would think that Duke and Georgetown and Kentucky and some of these names would outweigh Milwaukee. So I guess my point was, like, he clearly trusts his father, like, probably more than that. It's like Ray Allen, love of basketball, baby.
All we can say as Panther alums is we're gonna ride the wave. We should probably get the alumni crew together and go to a game, tear up downtown. But that's not podcast material. That's after recording. But I don't know. I just thought it was cool that people are really gravitating. Like, you type up his name or you type in UWM, and the social media feed is just going to explode. So it's
Well,
really
that's
cool.
good.
We haven't had anything like this since we've been alive, so at least for our school. I mean, when people are like,
No,
"Oh, you guys
no,
have a
no.
basketball team?" Like, yeah, we do. Horizon League, man. Come on, you don't know him?
Still baby steps still, but obviously what he means to the city is going to dictate, like you said, how many years he's there and the overall level of play that he brings to the team. So we'll see how this
Sure.
pans out.
Yeah, we're kind of like in Twins preseason mode. We're super excited, got a lot of hype. We'll come crashing down later, but for right now, we're gonna be excited. We're gonna be excited.
Yeah. God,
Speaking of Minnesota, give me some Hall of Fame news, son.
Yeah, so I misspoke earlier when I called out KG, but yes, KG definitely is the Hall of Famer, not only for the Twins or Timberwolves, probably the top player in the Timberwolves organization status, and of course a Hall of Famer in his own right. Got inducted over the weekend along with Tim Duncan, who was like, those guys are talked about for forever. So how perfect, or in combination together, how perfect they go in together. And then of course, with the late great Kobe Bryant and a host of others, but those were the players significant for this year. And so KG meant the world. I wish he was going to be owner of the team, but at least Taylor in a couple years will actually be forfeiting that ownership over to A-Rod, like we talked about.
Yep.
Woo!
So then maybe he can come back as a coach in some capacity.
I got a feeling like he probably, if he doesn't already, he probably has some sort of relationship with A-Rod.
He has to. He
God
has
knows
to.
what. Yeah, the SBs.
At least
who
put the
knows?
feelers out. At least put the feelers out. Take a temperature of the water. Hey, man.
I think he'll be back. His energy is good. He's always, he kind of, there's been some rumors from like PR and like news outlets saying that he was kind of a dickhead to the lower level people, but
I can
we'll see.
empathize with that.
I think it's different now. And yeah, he always, So
it's weird because you got KG, you were comparing him and TD, like, as far as like their skill set, and their physical attributes, they're very similar, but as far as like personalities, they could not be more different.
Yep, absolutely.
I kid you not, when you said you had a soundbite of Tim Duncan, I'm like, he actually spoke to the press? He spoke and a mic was around to record him? Like, that's crazy, because he's one of the most soft-spoken players. Like, just go in, do the time, let your play do the talking type guy. Growing up with both of them, I mean, it's KG was like a staple forever. Like, I mean, I remember playing the early like NBA 2K games. I'm like, how the hell do I make a Timberwolves franchise? Like, there's just nothing there. It's literally just KG. It's just KG.
Oh,
Spreewell was there for a couple years, but
you didn't like Wally? Wally outside for 3.
Zerbiak?
Yeah.
Oh, I got to forget about Wally World. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that guy stood alone on that island for a long time, so I'm hoping that he gets he comes back in some sort of capacity, but
yeah, it depends. I mean, if anything, probably a statue, to be honest.
Oh my gosh.
It sounds cheesy
for literally
as hell,
like Atlas holding up the city, because he literally held the city up for like a decade. Like, okay, fine. We'll let you go get a ring.
I mean, speaking of that, I think it would have been great to have Kobe in terms of like legacy overall, and really the Lakers already had a dynasty, or like already had a franchise beyond none other, but like what he meant to that franchise, not to like segue away from KG, but I think not having Kobe there for a speech, just, I don't know, I kind of missed that, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, but you don't want to you don't want to, I mean, like, did they do like a tribute video or something, or?
Well, I'm not sure. I know that Jordan talked again, and same with Vanessa, but his wife, but I don't know. I guess overall it would have been so crazy to hear what he would have had to have said, because I'm sure there's maybe some few stories, but overall it's sad to see him gone, I guess, is the point.
For sure.
Well,
if we keep going on this basketball route, we keep going down there. The play-in playoffs is done. We know who's playing. We know the seeds. We know the games. We know the times. And lo and behold, 3 and 6 match up. We got the Heatles versus the Bucks again, round 2. This time, though, we're not playing in a bubble. This time, home court advantage will be a factor.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the Heat team isn't the same as it was last year. I mean, I get that they got off to a nice hot start. Heat. Going into the playoffs, and they just kept rolling. But it's not the same squad. They don't have that same momentum. They don't have that same kind of.
I was just gonna.
I'm not gonna say they don't have the same weapons, because they do for the most part. But they don't have that same kind of chemistry that they had. It's not the same feel. Arguably, you could say sort of about the Bucks. They had a couple weird games in there, but there's also a couple nice statement games too. So I'm feeling pretty confident here. It's nice to know that you're going against not only a familiar opponent, but the fact that you actually do have home court advantage. You're having a superior record and a superior seeding actually matters this year.
Yep.
I mean, I think we talked about it when the bubble was first introduced. We watched a few games. Like, you can argue both ways. Like, maybe this is the ultimate champion because there's no home court advantage, or you say, well, maybe this championship isn't as impressive because you're not having to deal with the adversity of a foreign crowd, right?
So it's all neutral, no element in play, which is a little.
Yeah, I could buy both arguments. I could see both sides for sure. But
I definitely think having these playing games, because I'm guessing that this has given the teams a lot more rest than they expected, especially with the shortened season already. So I think this rest is going to help the Bucks for sure, and how they're going to attack. The thing is, Giannis still has to evolve his game, and I'm hoping he showcases that, because they've proven how they stop Giannis. And really, if they can stop him, they'll be able to stop the rest of the team for the most part, unless Middleton. I think with Drew, you got to almost play ISO with Drew and Giannis, and then allow Middleton to sort of pick and pop or do what he does with the off-ball kind of thing, and mix it up, really. And
that wasn't a Wolfman. That wasn't Wolfman commentary, but it's acceptable.
Oh yes. I was gonna segue actually to the coach, Mikey. Yeah. Mike B. I'm not gonna pronounce his last name right now.
Budenholzer? What?
Budenholzer. I always want to put an L in there for some reason. Budenholzer. Whatever. No, it all depends on what he does with the team offensively. The Heat already know how to stop them, so if they're going to make Giannis one-dimensional again and just trap him, it's not going to...
But that you could say that with pretty much everyone. I mean, the formula's been out there. The formula to beat them has been out there for 4 years now. Mm-hmm. And you talk about Giannis evolving his game. He hasn't really changed it too much in the last 3 years, and it's not going to change in the next week. So I don't foresee anything crazy happening. I think it's just going to be the better team's going to win. It's going to be pretty plain and simple. I don't really see. Ask me for a prediction. Go ahead.
Yeah. John, what is your prediction? Miami Heat versus the Bucks.
I think they drop 2. I think they get a little overconfident. Because that's kind of how I felt last year. I mean, remember the first series matchup against the Magic. Yeah. I mean, that was awkward. That is a rough start against not a good team. That was, So I can kind of see them kind of getting off to the same kind of start. But they win the series, but it doesn't matter. I think Zach even brought this up before. It's like, well, what happens after that? They make it out of the first, great, and then it's at best you play Boston. I don't really know what the expectation is here. I don't.
Well, that is what's interesting about this whole play-in. It's kind of dumb in a way, because the teams that really don't play them aren't going to know until the next round. But either way, who knows? I think you're right. There's not much, unless the Sixers don't become healthy and there's no upset of the Nets. It's hard to see the Bucks making it out past the conference finals.
Yeah,
and even there.
Which is, we've kind of expected this. This is.
Yep.
I think we need one more year with the roster and maybe adding a couple more pieces to really make it sing. But I don't know. I'm excited. It's nice that we have live sports, and everything's going to be 100% pretty soon. So I'm staying positive. I'm staying positive.
You mean 100% fans in the stands?
Yeah, the Brewers announced it. I think it's maybe mid-June, end June. It's not, they're going 100% capacity, and then the Pfizer burrito is gonna follow suit. So I don't know. I'll probably snag some tickets and go to a game and lose my voice and make bad decisions. But all right,
Hey,
so
you can make worse decisions.
I do briefly. I want to cover Corbin Burns. So the Brewers bullpen, so they can't bat for crap, right? Like everyone knows that. That's really,
Yep.
So I think someone in my work chat said that they couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat. Like it feels pretty true. Like it's really rough. Like to have stellar pitching for 6-7 innings and then Hader, and others closing is great, but if you can't score a run, it doesn't matter. So while we're riding the coattails of our bullpen, I do want to mention the record that Corbin Burns set. So he set the MLB record for striking out 58 batters before issuing a walk, the most to start a pitcher in history. That is insane.
For his career. Wow, yeah. Holy
58 batters before his first walk.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Especially given the circumstances sometimes where you, excuse me, almost based off what the catcher is calling, you have to throw in a way. So, like, you have to trust your stuff. That's impressive.
Yeah. So, I thought that was pretty awesome. I mean, I know that him and Brendan Woodruff have had an amazing. I mean, the whole bullpen has all had great moments, but
it's not sexy. But hey, honestly,
it's really not, because even their records, it's like they might have like a fantastic game, but like it doesn't.
But that's what gets you that's why you guys aren't in last place like the Twinkies. You're second to whatever.
All right. The only other thing that I want to mention. So I saw this article in the Journal Sentinel. So Golf Week 2021 listed the 100 best public golf courses that you can play in the U.S. Now, you've already seen the article. I've already seen the article. But if someone were to tell me that Wisconsin had 9 out of 100 courses on that list, so it's the second most. It's tied for second most of any state in the country. California has 10. Oregon has 9. And Florida has 8. But to be fair, Florida has like 8 billion golf courses total. Like the state's like half marsh, half golf course. Like it's pretty mixed actually. But so we have
Minnesota has 2.
Minnesota has 2. I would say 0, but hey, no. The cool thing is University Ridge is actually in Madison. It's literally like 1.5 miles, 2 miles from me.
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah, when you get your next raise, we can play because it's like $100 to walk. So. But I don't know. I just thought that was cool.
2 out of 100. Honestly, that's a good checklist. We'll put it up on the website too, perhaps. That would be a good article to post on the website, come to think of it.
Are you trying to promote something?
I'm trying to promote something, apparently. I keep saying website.
Oh, you mean armchairpodcast.com? Oh, wow. What a wonderful place. It has everything. It has everything we've ever done.
Correct. I wish the Twins, not to dwell on them too much, but I wish the Twins had a record like that, because we need any sort of pitching record right now to really boost the fan morale.
That's kind of what it felt like. Like it wasn't anything like, oh my god, like it's crazy. Like it's an impressive stat, but at the same time, like you watch them just score back to back 0, 1, 2 run games. It's like, yeah, not.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right.
Yeah.
So,
clip of the week this week is got to keep it current, relevant to the Twins' successes or lack thereof, I should say. This one is actually an unwritten rule in baseball. We were getting blown out by the White Sox and had a utility player a positional player on in the top of the 9th inning to face the White Sox. 3-0 pitch, boom, home run. Let's take a listen and a watch.
Pitch for the 3rd time in his career, 2nd time this season, and that got the crowd pretty fired up. You've got 5'9", 225 up against 5'11", 245.
Looks like a softball, slow pitch softball game. It's 3-0.
Oh, he loaded up. Mercedes tattoos it to center. It is gone.
There you go.
A 3-0 swing, and it's 16-4.
Well, I'm thinking that probably does it.
Yeah, that about sums up the season for the Twins thus far. They are not having luck, and now they're sort of a blooper reel for kind of an unwritten rule in baseball. They actually threw at the guy the next game and hit him, by the way. So This was on Monday. They hit him on Tuesday. And the head coach, LaRussa, came after the White Sox player, Mercedes, and told him, oh, he needs to know better, da-da-da. It's like, who cares, really? I think we're all adults now and past that point in baseball where the unwritten rule doesn't, like, I guess what's your stance on it now? Knowing where baseball is sort of slided from America's, game.
What kind of transition are you trying to make right now?
I don't know.
Wait, what do I see baseball as what? Sorry.
Where do you see baseball as America's pastime? Or do you want to
It's not.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I do have something to make you feel better, though. Sorry, I was looking this up. I don't know how to officially track this, but I'm pretty sure the Brewers have allowed 10 Grand Slams this season. So we talk about the pitching, we praise the pitching, we praise the pitching staff, but they've allowed 2 in 2 games so far. So that's 4.
Back to back.
No, not back to back, but like
two and two. Gotcha.
Correct.
I get it. Yeah.
I think I don't know officially, but I believe they have allowed 10 Grand Slams this year. I want to know now. I want to know, but that is messed up, dude.
Whoever,
like you are in a dominant position in a game, and all of a sudden just boom, gone.
My point is the unwritten rule in baseball. You're normally not on a 3-0 pitch, especially in a blowout. You should just take the pitch. But at the end of the day, the Twins suck. We shouldn't be using a freaking positional player. Why not have a good enough pitcher that can go in there, huh? Why not try? I honestly wanted to, because I don't know if I told you this the last episode, but somebody right behind the plate at a Twins game had a huge sign that said "Fire Rocco," the head coach. I should have done a little cutout because he needs that's a managerial move right there that failed. What do you expect when we're getting blown out and he decides to put a positional player in? What do you think is going to happen?
It's hard. If for devil's advocate, I'm going to say that it's hard when there's preseason expectations and there's on paper expectations of success. Mm-hmm. I mean, we see it a lot in other sports of a team that's like, oh my gosh, they have all the pieces. They can do it. They can make a title run. But it's like actually putting it together, it's a little bit harder. And granted, we're a little bit further into the season now, so it's harder to say, well, it's just growing pains. It's harder to put, talented pieces of a roster together and make them work. That you have these pieces, but they have to work and they have to play together. Otherwise, you're just the Twins. That's what separates winners. So,
hey, that's a great segue too, actually, about the.
It is. So this is something we had on our calendar a while back, and now it's a little awkward because it doesn't totally hold true. So something that we were kind of chit-chatting about, and this isn't even just a recent conversation. We've been talking about this for years. Mm-hmm. Maybe not mostly specific to the NBA, but super teams in general and how their impact on the league. I think honestly, the very first time I remember one coming together and it being super successful, it was the Celtics and it was the Heat. Mm-hmm. Those were kind of on the same timeline, and they both had success, but I think that's what kind of set the precedent, because before that, of course you had players jokingly saying, "Oh man, we come play for us." Even in NFL they do it too. I'm sure baseball players get swapped around so quickly in every sport, so it's not uncommon. But to actually see them openly campaigning, literally campaigning to get somebody, they get them on the team, and then you see the success that they reap after that. This year,
this leads into
This year, okay. So obviously Brooklyn. Hands down favorite. Trust me, they paid their dues though, right? Because, Durant was out. Irving was not even a human for a while, so once they're all actually on the roster together, then they make the move for Harden. The roster was already fantastic with those two. You pull Harden in, and now and it's not like their bench is depleted either.
I was going to say they didn't give up much, which is...
So,
kind of crazy.
In the grand scheme of things, it's like this should be no contest, But now they sit at the second seed, nestled in between a 1 and a 3 that's right behind them in terms of record and talent.
Right where they need to be.
So, I don't know. You would think this would be the It's there have been injuries and there have been some other problems in the team. I get it.
They're not going to have to play the Celtics, though, right? I think who won?
Brooklyn? Yeah, they are. They're literally playing the Celtics.
Oh, that's right, because they... Never mind. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
So, man, they'll get... Yeah, this will be a good series to tune up for them, the Celtics.
Yep, so...
Without Jaylen Brown.
Now comes the question, though. Like, is it still that big of a deal? I mean, because obviously the Lakers have... I mean, LeBron's just been going from team to team trying to get everybody to play with him, which isn't a huge knock against him. It's not, a big positive, but I mean, at the same time, it's like, is it that effective? They're the 7th seed. They could possibly be eliminated tonight. So
maybe. No, the loser plays the 9-8 or 9-10.
That's true.
It's kind of dumb.
They could take the first step towards getting eliminated tonight. But but that's the thing. It's like, so you have Steph and LeBron. They're playing each other. They can't both win the game. So I think that's two big markets that the NBA take into consideration. This is can't see it, but this is my tinfoil hat time. You can't let a very successmal franchise in a big market lose. You have to have them in there. Utah being the 1 seed.
I agree.
If you have Utah versus what? I mean, the Bucks. Can you imagine those ratings? This is from a Bucks fan. Can you imagine those ratings? Like,
yeah,
they've been struggling as it is. Sports in general have been struggling as it is the last couple of years. If you have Utah versus the Bucks in the NBA Finals, you're going to have probably 4 people watching. Okay, obviously being hyperbolic, but you get what I'm saying, right? If you have Philly, if you have the Knicks, if you have Brooklyn, if you have Boston, if you have the Clippers, the Lakers, whatever, the markets are much bigger, and they're just more popular teams.
I get it. It happens in every sport, and I even, to some degree, you're seeing it more in football, or a little bit of that mindset trickle into football with some of the signings. But what can you do, though, too? It's a small roster for the NBA. They need it, or not need, but they're always talking to off the court more than we'd expect. It's like they created a brotherhood. I don't know. There's not much you can do, and yes, it makes the product on the court. I think the laughable thing is that they made it they actually didn't they have to put into rule that whole absence leave, or like where players would just routinely sit out without an excuse, or they gave an excuse, but I don't know. I thought they had to put in a rule about some bogus idea for an excuse when it came to sitting out and only playing during primetime games. It's just stupid sometimes.
What, tanking, or what are you getting at?
There's tanking, but then there's also like when Kawhi sits out every other day, the
Raptors did what is it, load management or whatever they call it?
Yes, the load management principle.
I think it's something like that. I don't remember the technical term, but yeah, like it worked though. Like for the Raptors, like the dude was hurt, so they just like, okay, well you'll play like every other game then.
Yeah,
and they won. I don't know how you can bash that, but did they actually instate a rule for that?
I thought they did to some degree when it came to load management.
Because Embiid was kind of the same thing though for years. He's never played. He won't play a full season, especially come playoff time. Like, I don't even know how they got the first seed. I figured they'd just be resting him for like a month.
So at the end of the day, it's just coming down to power. They're getting more and more power, and load management, the playing with your friends, winning championships. It unfortunately is only going to continue unless what rules do you put in place to kind of stop this? I guess
the problem is that it gets more attention on the internet. It gets more attention on TV. Yeah. It gets more attention just from fans in the stands. They get more excited about it. Do you want to see one superstar? Or do you want to see 3, 4?
Yep.
So I mean that's merchandise. I mean that's just, it's more sales for everything all around.
Well, then you look from the Timberwolves perspective, and I keep screaming, "Oh, get the franchise out of here!" Sort of half joking, but sort of not.
Voice, because that voice.
Sorry, I think you know who that was. No, but until Glenn Taylor sold the team officially, I wanted them gone. But it's like we don't have a fighting chance. Not like what you said. They're not going to want. As great as Anthony Edwards is now as our number 1 draft pick, whatever, they don't they'll give us a nice little run every now and then, but I agree with you. They want the big major markets to succeed. just like every other.
I mean, it's
franchise.
as much as they can do to make Minneapolis and Milwaukee pretty. Like it's never going to be in New York or in LA. Like it doesn't.
Yep.
They're never going to be able to command the same amount of attention and respect that those areas do. I mean, that's just it. Like people say the same thing. It's like, well, that's kind of the same thing with Green Bay. You know, like it's a very small town. There's 100-some thousand people, and on game day there's 180,000. You know, like the entire population actually doubles because there's probably people actually go to the game and just get drunk around it, like me sometimes. I'm just kidding.
And me.
So I think for the most part, it was formerly an issue. I think now. I think with also the luxury tax is becoming a thing too. Like you can't sign indiscriminately. So unless the players are willing to compromise.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
I think that's one of the. It's not really a check and balance. It's there and it's kind of a part of this. But I mean, we made the argument before the playoff scene. Like we put this on the calendar like a month plus ago. And as it turned out, we actually saw the playoff seeding. It's like Utah and Philly. I mean,
correct.
Philly's just been adding solid talent via the draft after the hinky tanking years.
Same with the Jazz. Same with the.
And they've been making good signings like Tobias. That wasn't a draft pick. That was just a good signing. You know, they made a couple good trades.
Yep.
A couple draft picks have turned out. Yeah. So I mean, they've made some players. They made some good moves. Utah. I mean.
The MVP, so I get it. It's sort of strange, but at the end of the day, it's going to be hard pressed to not see the Nets versus name an LA team, you know, kind of thing. Like, sadly,
but then you got like Phoenix too. Like we didn't even talk about them. I mean, they grabbed Chris Paul, but it's like Denver has been competitive since I was like a kid, since Nick Van Exel and Kenyon Martin were on the team. Like, the Nuggets have just been good for so long.
Great drops.
Yeah, I'm old. Get over it. So I think while it was an argument, it still will be an argument, but like it's just, I don't think it's as big of a thing. And you were talking about a little bit before the show, is maybe in other sports. Is this present in other sports? Do you have any examples, perchance?
Well, like I mentioned, I think
the rosters are so much bigger, though. You know, it's a different dynamic, really. Like the NFL,
Correct.
If you're playing Madden and you're going like Tyreek, Kelsey,
you see it more
and
with
Mahomes,
baseball.
that's
terrifying.
terrifying.
Yeah.
But that's just the offense. You saw what Tampa Bay's defense did to him. It doesn't matter. You got to have the whole enchilada, son.
Well, and that was more drafting, too, really, for the Chiefs. But honestly, the only way it works in football is if you allow the quarterback to take a pay cut. Because if you're going to sign a quarterback to top dollars when he really shouldn't be, you're kind of screwing the team when it comes to that.
But you're not allowing them to take one. They're opting to take one. Like Jimmy Garoppolo
Great point.
Jimmy Garoppolo playing 4 or 5 games and then taking like a redonkulous contract. Like, if you were doing your job at like 15% capacity, and they offered you $200K, would you say no? I'm gonna take a pay cut so my team can benefit.
Know what? Yeah.
No, you're not gonna take that. Don't even tell me. Don't even think that you're gonna tell me.
No, but my point is, without a salary cap in baseball, you have the baseball luxury tax where you get penalized, but heck, they don't really follow it. It's like I see this happening more with the Yankees, with the Dodgers, some of the more major market teams on the coasts first.
Orioles.
Or like you've always seen, go Orioles, Marlins for that matter.
Go O's.
No, but that's where it's going to start, or that's where you're going to continue to see it. So the likes of the Royals will come around every once in a while. Maybe the Twins will have their glory. Same with the Brewers. Football, there's still going to be way more parity, though, just because of the roster size and because of the different positions that really can, like, I know it relies on quarterback, but now that there's, 5-6 quarterbacks that at least could potentially win it year in and year out, arguably, maybe, should we go and name them? Wilson, Rodgers, Brady, Mahomes, Josh Allen. Do you think he's there yet? I was thinking him.
I'll do a half. I'll do 4.5 for you.
So Matt Ryan got there, but I don't know what he's like.
Matt Ryan is old.
Yeah. But point being, I think it's already existed in baseball for a while. It's existed in becoming a lot more apparent in the NBA. And with football, it's tough to see it. with the roster size.
Yeah.
But it's influencing in a way where you need a handful of, pieces. If it fits for pieces, Patrick Peterson to the no.
Stop it.
Just kidding.
End the show. Abort. No, in baseball, I can 100% see that, because that it's been like that since we were kids, right? Remember in the mid to late 90s, like it was always Yankees all the time. When they what was it? Oh my gosh, the Subway Series when it was Yankees Mets. Like that's the pinnacle. It's like, okay, we get it. You're in a big market and everyone cares about you. We got it. Yeah, like LA has been perennially a contender, because who doesn't want to live in beautiful sunny California? I mean, those are probably the two biggest ones. I mean, there's a couple other ones like you mentioned that are kind of like rotating.
San Francisco had a run, but yeah, exactly.
SF, yeah.
Boston, I guess you could say, but
would you say Houston? Would you say Houston?
Yeah, I mean, they haven't stripped that title, have they? They haven't. I don't think they. 2-3 years. I mean, 3 years straight. Yeah. Or no, they won 2 years, but they got there 3 years, I think. Whatever the. Yeah.
So I mean,
you don't get to see the players though.
It's not really a thing in the NFL, as you mentioned, but yeah, I can definitely see it in baseball.
Well, in the branding, like we didn't even get into this, which is another point now that's coming up to me. The endorsement deals that these NBA players have overseas is ginormous. So that's why they can warrant like mega deals to these mid-level players, and then also still fit it in to sign Harden, name them basically, or basically Anthony Davis coming over and LeBron. Granted, those two are max contracts. The rest they can just give the minimum, or whatever a middle tier is.
So an alternative here, or something that might make it much more awful, which I know that some teams have been talking about for a while.
Relegation.
So there are certain players, there's a few, I think mostly in the NFL, that they only live off of their endorsements, really. So they, like Gronk, he doesn't mind taking a smaller contract because it doesn't matter. Like, he makes enough in endorsements, Tide Pods, just to subsidize his daily living and also be the extreme frat bro that he is. Yeah. So maybe that's something too. But then at the same time, that's just like, well, if you want to, you can just stack all these crazy talented players, because they're all very high profile players that all have crazy endorsement deals. So you can sign them for dirt because they don't care, because Nike's paying them,
That's a great point. Yeah.
$50 million every year to do whatever, So That's something too that I think we're going to see more in the coming.
Personal brand is a whole nother exactly when you talk about brand, endorsements.
But look at the damn jerseys, bro. Every basketball jersey has some sort of sponsor now. So I remember a lot of teams for the longest time like, we'll never put ads on the. How long ago was it? We're like, we'll never put ads on the court. Ads have been on the court. They have them. The camera view that looks down at the hoop. There's an ad there. There's ads all over the sides of the court. Now we have ads on the jerseys. I mean, it's a slippery slope, but we're getting to the point where maybe you don't need that huge NBA salary. Maybe Nike, maybe Under Armour, maybe McDonald's, maybe Sprite. They take part of your contract, and then we figure out the rest. Whatever, It's like,
imagine like a Nathan's hot dog logo on the Bronx, the Yankee pinstripes.
I mean, but that's like, you got to admit though, that's kind of at some point, especially as you mentioned, baseball losing. Yeah. It's not the steam locomotive it was back in the olden days. I think after the steroids era, that's kind of when the NFL really started to peak too, in public viewing and public interest. I think slide by baseball and that rise by the NFL, that's not been recoverable. MLB has not come back from that. They're going to come to a point. 100%. And I would argue within the next decade, baseball's going to come to a point where they're like, we need something else here. We need something else. So if they turn that route, I would not be super surprised. I think with COVID, they're getting a lot more attention than they would because they were the first sport, to have people have butts in the seats. So.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting. I mean, we're seeing sports across the board change, right? I know this is a huge digression, but interesting topic. Hopefully, we can dive into it again. But I mean, baseball. I never thought they would ever adopt replay. Now there's some games where it feels like they're living by it. Some games, right? Yes. And they're still getting the call wrong. Again, another topic for another day. NFL very
Twins
fluid
took
in that
advantage of
language.
that. Yeah,
Oh my
Twins
gosh,
took
you're getting me
advantage of
going.
that.
You're getting me going here, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Replay officiating. Oh my gosh, we can have a whole separate podcast on that.
I enjoyed that topic because at the end of the day, personal branding and like just branding in general is like, imagine the pinstripes with decorated with freaking logos. Could you imagine Babe Ruth in his grave just like shaking, or you know,
Hebrew National hot dogs.
Lou Gehrig. Oh, Hebrew National, of course.
Yeah, for you, my boy. All right, that was fun. So
yeah,
I do want to take a quick second just to thank everybody that's listening. We do appreciate it. We've seen a nice uptick in viewers recently.
Yeah.
We appreciate everyone that takes time out of their day to listen to our show. We love doing it, love engaging with the fans, and we really, really, really are going to keep doing this and keep hammering on a couple other things.
Yep.
Hoping to have a couple collaborations coming up next month. We have some interviews on the docket, so
yeah,
we got more fun stuff planned. So again, if you're taking the time to listen, tell someone that might care. Maybe they want to listen. Maybe they're going back to the office and they have a commute coming up. Maybe they want to listen to a podcast on there. Well, hey, on that drive, put an Armchair Analyst.
Yeah.
You get in there like, wow, John is an idiot and Ace is a goofball.
And
like,
Keith is the best.
Keith, that's the guy who does our intro,
outro.
So, thank you guys so much. Have a fantastic week, and we will talk to you next week. I'm Johnny. That's Ace. We're out of here.
That's the show for this week. Check out Armchair Analyst on Twitter at AA Podcasts, on YouTube, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows. If this wasn't enough, be sure to check out armchairpodcast.com for more. See you next week.